In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 key tips when buying rental properties. If you're interested in purchasing rental properties right now, using these 4 key tips will help you get the best deals every single time. Coming up. All right, y'all, so today we're jumping into 4 tips to buying rental properties for beginners. If you have a property that you're interested in purchasing right now, there's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind to know if you have a good deal or not. And that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and share with you how to value your potential rental property. In steps 2 and 3, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know in order to determine if you have a good deal. And then in step number 4, I'm going to go ahead and show you what to expect in order to be happy with your deal. Then finally, what I'm going to do is share with you a real life example of a rental property that I have so you can see how it will fit in your personal business as well. Now, before we jump into this content, do me a favor, go ahead, if you're brand new to this channel, like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, and make sure you share this video with your family and friends who might be interested in purchasing rental properties as well. I really appreciate the support on this channel. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so step number 1 is to go ahead and find out what the market rents are for the potential rental property that you're looking in. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. I personally like to use rentometer.com and Zillow.com. And typically what I do with rentometer.com and Zillow.com is I'll go to Rentometer and I'll get an estimate of what the potential rent would be for that particular property. Then I'll go to Zillow and I'll do the same exact thing. I'll get a rentals estimate on what that particular property can rent for. Then all I'm going to do is take both of the numbers that I'm provided with from these 2 sites. I'm going to combine them, divide them by 2 just to get an estimate of what, or an average rather, of what the potential rent could be for that particular property. So I'm just looking to get an idea. I'm not looking for solid numbers. I'm just looking to be thrown in a ballpark just to get a really good understanding of what rents are going for that particular property. Now, another thing I'm looking out for is the 1% rule. And basically the 1% rule of real estate investing measures the price of the investment property against the gross income the property is going to generate. So just to put that in layman's terms, if you have a property that's worth $100,000, if it was in tip-top shape, generally you would want that property to rent for at least $1,000 per month. That's 1% of what the property is worth in gross rent. So that's generally what I'm looking out for when I'm finding out market rents for the particular property. I'm looking to find out what the property can rent for. And in addition to that, I'm looking to make sure it falls within that 1% rule. So if I'm paying $100,000 for a house, I want to make sure that I can get at least 1% in rent for that particular property. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to find out what the property expenses are every single month. Generally, you want to take every single expense that the property is going to generate, whether it's the mortgage, it can be taxes, it can be insurance, it can be utility bills, it can be lawn care, it can be any kind of maintenance, anything that you can think of. You even want to factor in a vacancy rate as well. Generally, 5% for a vacancy rate is ideal for a rental property. You want to take all of these numbers and you want to add them up to see what you can expect to spend on a monthly basis from this particular property. So step number 2 is to go ahead and find out what your monthly expenses are on the rental property. Now, if the property is currently rented and you're purchasing this property through a realtor or you're purchasing this property through a motivated seller, you can go ahead and ask the realtor or the seller for this information, but make sure you always do your due diligence and don't just take the realtor or the motivated seller's word verbatim. Do your own research to find out what the true monthly expenses are on the particular property. So that's step number 2. Make sure you find out what the expenses on the property are so you know how to move into step number 3. In step number 3, you need to figure out what the property is going to cash flow. So how do you figure this out? Really easy formula. All you're going to do is take the monthly income and subtract the monthly expenses. And that's going to leave you with how much you're going to cash flow every single month on this property. So for example, if your property is renting for, let's say, $1,000 a month and your monthly expenditures are $500 a month, what that means is your cash flow will be $500 a month. Let me give you one more example. If your property is renting for $1,000 a month and your expenditures are $800 a month, your cash flow is $200 a month. It's basically the difference between the income and the expenses, and that's going to equal your cash flow. Now, generally, when you're buying rental properties, most lenders that you're going to borrow the money from will want you to fall between a 1.25 and a 1.35% DCR, which is basically your debt coverage ratio. Just to simplify that for you, if you have a property, using that example that we just spoke about, and that property is renting for $1,000 a month, generally, the lenders will want your expenditures to be somewhere between $650 to $750. That's going to provide you with a 25% return to a 35% return in cash flow every single month. If you do the math, if you got $100,000 on a value of a property that you're renting for 1%, which is generally the $1,000 a month, if you have a 1.25% DCR, that basically means that your expenditures are $750 a month and your cash flow is $250. And the same thing goes with the 0.35, the 1.35. Generally, your expenses will be somewhere right around $650 a month. So if you do the math and you know what your income on the property is and you know what your expenses are as well, and after running your numbers, you see that you can fall between a 1.25 to a 1.35% DCR, that means you have a solid deal and your lenders are going to be really happy with funding this type of deal. So before we jump into step number 4, let me ask you a quick question. How important is cash flow in your business? Are you currently receiving cash flow, or are you just getting started to building up your cash flow? Do me a favor, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section just so I can know where you are in your real estate investing business and I can create more content for you as well. All right, so step number 4 is to go ahead and figure out what the cash on cash return is going to be on this potential rental property. And in order to figure that out, what you're going to do is go ahead and figure out what the annual cash flow amount is going to be. So you're basically going to take, let's say, $250 a month times 12, using $1,000 minus the $750 as an example. The difference, again, is the cash flow. So you're going to take that $250 a month, multiply that by 12. That should give you right around $3,000 a year. And in order to figure out what the cash on cash return is going to be for this particular rental property, what you need to do is divide that number by the amount that you put down plus the closing cost. So let's just say that the closing cost and the down payment is going to add up to $3,000. What that basically means is your cash on cash return is 0. So generally, as a brand new real estate investor, what you're looking for is at least a 5 to 7% cash on cash return. And as your career advances or you become more experienced as a real estate investor, you should be looking for somewhere between 8 and 12% cash on cash return when you're buying rental properties. And just to give you an example of how this works in real time, I actually have a rental property in another state that we're currently renting right now. So we purchased this property for $98,000. We're renting it right now for $1,000 a month, and our expenditures are $750 a month. So we're a little over the 1% rule that you definitely want to follow when you're purchasing these rental properties. We're also into the property for $0 out of pocket. So the difference between the $750 and $1,000 a month is our cash flow. But if you do the math, we're at a 1.25% DCR on this property, and our cash on cash return is really infinite because we have $0 into this deal. So everything we make on this property is pure profit, pure cash flow, and that's the best position to be in when you're purchasing rental properties. So if you'd like to see how you can buy your first rental property with no money, like we did on that property that I just explained, or credit because we didn't go to the bank to get a loan, so we literally purchased this property with no money or credit. If you want to see how you can buy your first rental property the same way we purchased that property, go ahead and watch this video, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.